They have much higher funding, so they can give students a more personalised learning experience fitted to how they learn best.
Well, personally, I think the educational system is quite good. However, I feel like they focus too much on lower achieving students. For example, if you're a high achieving student, or if you're just meandering and you're just a normal student average, I feel like you don't get enough attention.
Okay, so with the current educational system, I'd say there are still a lot of flaws. I think we keep going back in cycles, and it depends on different types of government, and I wish that in some ways the government had less control over education and they let the experts get involved more. That's something I'd definitely like to see. In terms of curriculum, my worry is that creativity is going to come out of the curriculum, and I am here because I'm creative. I was an average student at everything, and yet it was my creativity and the fact that I thought out of the box that I think makes me a good teacher. So if we don't have creative people, how is that going to help us in the future?
I think schools need more funding for basic resources.
Some community-focused things. I think we want to try and produce people that are more positive contributors to society, so have sort of community outreach projects running. Maybe more controversially, I think we should teach parenting skills. You're going to hopefully not for a few years, but you are going to be parents at some point, quite likely, and I don't think where do you learn about parenting skills?
Yeah, I would also have things, so if there were children that knew what I wanted to do later in life, I would have things that were aimed for them so they could maybe best themselves in that thing.
I'd probably add in swimming, like to what I do at school, because I'd like to be taught a bit more about swimming because I'm not very good at it. And I think I'd add in another lesson of science. I know that sounds ridiculous, but because I'm not very good at science and I'd like to be a bit better at it.
So I would like to see life skills definitely up there. I think cooking, relaxation, meditation, mindset, all of those areas, I think that could come under a nice lesson. Ancient history.
11 plus, you're 11 and you don't know how to revise for it. There's no real way to revise for 11 plus because you don't know what's going to be there. So these kind of tests that kind of, bring 11-year-olds and 12 and 10 and 11-year-olds together and then decide which one is best enough to go to grammar school or state school or another school, really kind of, I feel like they mess with your confidence a lot, they mess with you, but they make me think you're not smart enough.
We're actually training our students for jobs that we don't even know exist in the future. If we're doing that by teaching them bog standard subjects that are academic, how are we training them to cope with the different creative skills they might need in the future? I feel it's a real shame that we are teaching to exams, and that can take the fun out of learning, and I always saw learning as a fun thing, and that's what made me want to be a teacher.
It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous that at 10, because most people aren't even 11 when they take the test, so that at 10 years old you just go and this separation, and you speak to colleagues in the primary schools, they say it's heartbreaking. I mean, the grammar school system is a bit like the sort of private school light, that whole idea that we're going to separate you people off, do that. Now, I'm an intellectual snob. I do believe that education is important. I do believe that it should be merit based, and you should have opportunities to go to good places, but not a part of the compulsory age. Get to the compulsory bit, so get to 16 that everyone's got to do. It should be a level playing field for everyone. And at that point, diversify, go off and do what you need to do. Go purely academic or more vocational or entirely sort of physical labouring type stuff. Fine, but until that point, when they're 10 years old, I mean, people haven't developed to their full potential. It's utter madness.